incredible bang on target.
Authoritative evening political show. We're coming to you from our studios in Abelemkpe 48 Swanika Street here in Accra. This program is live on Facebook at Pan African Television. We are also live on YouTube at Pan African Television. It is very interactive, and so you can leave your questions, suggestions, and whatnot on our social media pages. We'll make a time and read all those out for you. You can as well connect with us via WhatsApp stroke text line on 02608465 39. Today specifically, we do not have anything to discuss. We have dedicated tonight's edition of Hot News to the ex-late president of the land, former President Jerry John Rawlings, founder of the National Democratic Congress. Today, we did not hear a good news. It was all bad news. Black Thursday. I mean, a calamity has befallen the good people of Ghana, the family of Rawlings, and of course the National Democratic Congress fraternity. What has happened? The ex-president shockingly passed on after a short illness, we are told. Of course, we have been bringing to you an update of what has happened since around midday till now. Intermittently, we were bringing you live coverage of his demise. Tonight on Hot News, we are going to be, delving properly into his lifestyle. We'll be looking at, after, the incident, what has been happening. Statements have been issued, of course, by the leader of the National Democratic Congress, ex-President John Dramani Mahama. Also, President of the land, President Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has also issued a statement. All political activities have been put on hold. The National Democratic Congress has called off its campaign, including the vice presidential candidate calling off her campaign tour of the Greater Accra region today. Quite apart from that, the New Patriotic Party has also called off its campaign. President Dankwa Akufo-Addo, in a statement he released, talked about the fact that, he has called off his tour with his vice president, and they are back in Accra for 7 days to mourn with the families and, of course, with the good people of Ghana. Ex-President Jerry John Rawlings, as we all know, has made history. You cannot talk about the history of this country without necessarily mentioning the name of ex-President Rawlings, from his AFRC days, to the PNDC era, to the NDC era. He ruled this country for 19 solid years. 19 solid years. There were a lot of things he has done, or there are a lot of contributions he has made pertaining to the development of this country. And so, basically, that is what we are going to be looking at. Let me play my very first video to, of course, mourn the ex-president. I'll be right back.
Mlewe miadapelo, mlewe miadapelo, mlewe Lanto así que me da tallo, Bleu. Mausi memiele ya kwenyamya kwemenyao. Jito si memiele ya kwenyamya kwemenyao. Minondo, midogbeda, gbeno kaka megbe sepe mayo, gbeno kaka megbe sepe mayo. Mlewe miada pelo, mlewe miada pelo. Bleu. Bleu. Bleu.
All right, you're still watching us right here on Hot News on Pan African Television. You can keep your messages coming in on 026084 6539 026084 6539. We are mourning the late ex-president Jerry John Rawlings. We did not hear good news today, unfortunately. It has been a black Thursday to the good people of Ghana, to the good people of Africa, and to the families of the ex-president. After a short illness, he passed on. Well, we have been bringing you the live coverage since the news broke in the afternoon through to, this evening and all of that. Tonight's edition of Hot News is dedicated to the ex-president, and of course we shall go back and then take his biography. We'll be right back.
Jerry John Rawlings, born Jerry Rawlings on 22nd June 1947, was a former Ghanaian military leader and subsequent politician who ruled the country from 1981 to 2001 and also for a brief period in 1979. He led a military junta until 1992 and then served 2 terms as the democratically elected president of Ghana. Rawlings initially came to power in Ghana as a flight lieutenant of the Ghana Air Force following a coup d'etat in 1979. Prior to that, he led an unsuccessful coup attempt against the ruling military government on 15th May 1979, just 5 weeks before scheduled democratic elections were due to take place. After initially handing power over to a civilian government, he took back control of the country on 31st December 1981 as the chairman of the Provisional for National Defense Council. In 1992, Rawlings resigned from the military, founded the National Democratic Congress and became the first president of the First Republic. He was re-elected in 1996 for 4 more years after 2 terms in office, the limit according to the Ghanaian constitution. Rawlings endorsed his vice president John Atta Mills as presidential candidate in 2000. He served as the African Union envoy to Somalia. He died on November 12, 2020 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra. Jerry John Rawlings was born to Victoria Agboti and Ewe from Jelupe, Keta, and James Ramsey John, a chemist from Castle Douglas in Scotland. James Ramsey John was married in England to someone else, and his descendants now live in Newcastle and London. Rawlings attended Achimota School and a military academy at Teshi. He is married to Nana Kunedu Ajiman Rawlings, who he met while at Achimota College. They have had 3 daughters, namely Zenato Rawlings, Yaasanta Rawlings, Amina Rawlings, and 1 son, Kimathi Rawlings. Rawlings finished his secondary education at Achimota College in 1967. He joined the Ghana Air Force shortly afterwards. On his application, the military switched his surname John and his middle name Rawlings in March 1968. He was posted to Takoradi in Ghana's western region to continue his studies. He graduated in January 1969 and was commissioned as a pilot officer, winning the coveted Speedbird Trophy. As the best cadet in flying in the Su-7 ground attack supersonic jet aircraft, as he was skilled in aerobatics. He earned the rank of flight lieutenant, and in April 1979, during his service with the Ghana Air Force, Rawlings perceived a deterioration in discipline and morale due to corruption in the Supreme Military Council. As promotion brought him into the contact with the privileged classes and their social values, his view of the injustices in society hardened. He was thus regarded with some unease by the SMC. After the 1979 coup, he involved himself with the student community of the University of Ghana, where he developed a more leftist ideology through reading and discussion of social and political ideas.
All right, so that was the biography of the late ex-president Jerry John Rawlings, founder of the National Democratic Congress. After the news broke that he passed on, there have been a lot of tributes pouring from other African leaders. Earlier, I read that of former President John Ejekum Kufuor, the second president of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, and what he said on Twitter. I also read that of George Weah, president of Liberia, and that of the president of Burkina Faso. There have been a lot more coming in. Africa is, as a matter of fact, mourning the ex-president. And so that is what has happened. But once again, as I said earlier, all political activities have been put on hold. Why did they put political activities on hold? This is because the ex-president's demise would have to be given some sort of attention. So former President John Dramani Mahama, who happens to be the leader of the party founded by ex-president Rawlings, National Democratic Congress, has cut short his campaign tour of the Ashanti region. Likewise, his running mate in person of Professor Nana Jinopokwa-Jima, who was earlier in the day touring Accra, had to also cut short her tour of the Greater Accra region to make sure that they return to their prospective places, to make sure that they mourn the founder of their party. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has also cut short his campaign tour, and he has returned back to Accra. His running mate, who happens to be the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, has also cut short his tour. He's back right here in Accra. But there have been statements from both the ex-president, I'm talking about President John Dramani Mahama, and also President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The families of the ex-president Jerry John Rawlings have also issued a statement, and I'll be reading those statements pretty shortly. But I would love to take the statement issued by Zenator Rawlings, daughter of former President Jerry John Rawlings, the late. Let me read it briefly. It's a press release, and it says, President Rawlings passes away. It's dated November 12, 2020. It is with deep sadness that the family of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings retired informs the general public that the former President of the Republic passed away on Thursday morning after a short illness. The family requests privacy at this difficult moment. Details of funeral arrangements will be announced in due course, and this is signed by Zenator Ajiman Rawlings. Zenator Ajiman Rawlings. And so that is the statement coming from the family of the late ex-president Jerry John Rawlings. Also, let me take that of the President of the Republic of Ghana, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and this is what he's saying. President Akufo-Addo announces the death of former President Jerry John Rawlings. It is with great sadness that I announce to the nation that the first President of the Fourth Republic, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, has joined his ancestors. This tragic event occurred at 10:10 a.m. on Thursday, 12 November 2020 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where the former president was receiving treatment after a short illness. I convey the deep sympathies of government and the people of Ghana to his wife, the former First Lady, Nana Konadu Rawlings, the children, and the family of the late president in these difficult times. I have directed that all national flags should fly at half-mast for the next 7 days in all parts of the country, and have declared 7 days of national mourning from Friday 13th November to Friday 20th November in honor of the memory of former President Jerry John Rawlings, the Vice President and I have suspended our political campaigns for same period. Government will work closely with the family of President Rawlings on the arrangements to a fitting state funeral for the late president and will keep the nation informed accordingly. A great tree has fallen and Ghana is poorer for this loss. May his soul rest in perfect peace in the bosom of the Almighty until the last day of the resurrection, when we shall meet again. And this was signed by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana. And so the president has informed Ghanaians on the demise of the late president, and also has talked about the fact that he and his vice have cut short their tour just to come back and mourn with Ghanaians, with Africans, and with the families of the late ex-president. But it didn't end there. Former President John Dramani Mahama, who happens to be the leader of the party founded by ex-President Jerry John Rawlings, has also issued a statement. This statement was contained in the form of a press release and also was written on his Twitter account. And this is what the former President John Dramani Mahama had to say. I have announced the suspension of my tour of the Ashanti region and all NDC campaigns across the country following news of the passing of our founder and former president of Ghana, Jerry John Rawlings. May his soul rest in perfect peace. I have announced the suspension of my tour of the Ashanti region and all NDC campaigns across the country following news of the passing of our founder and former president of Ghana, Jerry John Rawlings. May his soul rest in perfect peace. And that one also came from ex-President John Dramani Mahama, who is seeking for re-election, or who is seeking for a second coming. Of course, he is the leader and the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, the party founded by the late President Jerry John Rawlings. We are still here. We'll be bringing you some, documentaries. How well do you know ex-President Rawlings? What are the fond memories you have? What would you use in remembering ex-President Jerry John Rawlings? Let's go and take our very first documentary. When we come back, I'll be joined here in the studio by my colleague, Oscar Kwame Akaba, who was in the Volta region, precisely Keta, where the ex-president is coming from, to tell us the mood of the people over there. Let's go for the very first documentary. We'll be right back.
And when we saw him, we started screaming, JJ, JJ.
That a coup will not succeed if the atmosphere, the climate is not calling for it.
He told Ghanaians, I have hard work for you.
Christianize me if you may, but don't try to Europeanize me.
In June 1979, Ghana was at a crossroad. Another military coup was at hand. A young Air Force pilot who a few weeks before had been court-martialed and was awaiting execution was broken out of jail by his colleagues to lead what would be later known as the June 4th Revolution. Little was known of this man who would later be instrumental in changing the future of Ghana forever. His name, Jerry Rawlings. Jerry Rawlings was born in Accra, Ghana, on the 22nd of June 1947 to his mother Victoria Abok-Chui and his Scottish father James Ramsey. He attended Ghana's prestigious Achimota School. An elite school at the time, Achimota was founded on the principle of providing African students with the British model of a public education.
I say that it probably was one of the finest times of my life. You know, Chimoda School. It's a place to be proud of.
I noticed him, yes, because he was very visible and bullied us even though we were in the same class. Not in a very bad way, but you know, bullying is bullying. And so you can't help but notice him. But I never thought that we'll come this far.
By collective effort, that the nation's problems can be solved.
Before his fame as a revolutionary, Jerry Rawlings was unknown to most of Ghana.
Standing next to my mother, you know, in a compound house, when the young men also in the house, you know, asked me what I'd like to be when I grew up. And I said, I'd like to be a pilot. And bang, my mother slapped me on the back. Oh, yes, yes. You'll be a doctor. You'll be a scientist. I mean, the whole house, the compound became quiet, shocked at what had just happened. I never gave up my dream.
He graduated in January 1969 and was commissioned a pilot officer. And because of his exceptional skill, he won the coveted Speedbird Trophy.
I won the Speedbird Trophy. In those days, we didn't have televisions. You know, we had what they call the newsreels in movie houses. But my mother was not interested.
He earned the rank of flight lieutenant in April of 1978. While on a state visit to Vietnam and China in 1966, Nkrumah was deposed from power in a coup.
I was at school. So how did the people around him, how did they conduct or misconduct themselves in such a way as to bring so much hatred to Dr. Kwame Nkrumah?
What followed was a period of military coups, failed civilian governments that left the people dissatisfied. Widespread corruption made life difficult for the people of Ghana. This led to growing anger and resentment.
We have set the example. We have shown that we're capable of doing it.
Jerry Rawlings came into the public eye when on the 28th of May 1979, Rawlings, together with 6 other soldiers, were arrested by the militia for an attempted coup d'etat on the government of General Fred Akufo. Rawlings appeared before a general court-martial charged with leading a squad of soldiers on the 15th of May 1979.
I keep describing it as turning on the gas in a kitchen. That's how volatile it was. From a distance, all you needed to do was to ignite a match and throw it inside. And that's what I could have done in 79, 15th May.
I was praying for the best. I also knew exactly what was going on in the country and knew that he had taken the flag for all of us. Therefore, if he had to die for his conviction, I knew he would prefer to do that.
He was found guilty and awaiting execution. The trial was a public one that was meant to deter any future coups and was broadcast for all of Ghana to see and hear.
They were, you know, they were trading some things amongst themselves, the prosecution and the lawyers and whatnots, and severally and whatnots, those terms they use. So I got up and grabbed the microphone, you know, said, I don't understand these terms and all that's going on, neither do my boys. And I'm just here, and I'm taking responsibility for everything that's happened, and to leave my men alone. But I wanted to make sure that they hear what I have to say first.
He made an unforgettable speech in court and said,
I am not an expert in economics, and I am not an expert in law, but I am an expert in working on an empty stomach, wondering when and where the next meal will come from. I know what it feels like going to bed with a headache for want of food in the stomach.
Instead, the name Rawlings became the symbol of hope and deliverance for the people of Ghana. On the 4th of June of that same year, a mutiny by officers in support of his cause broke him out of jail, sparking the revolution.
When you consider, the difficulties, the shock effect that June 4th should have had on us, should have woken us up. And I do remember, to be quite honest, in those volatile, violent, difficult days when people were calling for let the blood flow, etc., there were some intellectuals and some diplomats who, I guess, have a better knowledge of history, who were asking me that I was exercising too much control. I was restraining it too much.
Jerry Rawlings and his soldiers formed the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council, AFRC.
I didn't expect to be here.
Later, the AFRC carried out what Rawlings described as a house cleaning exercise. This was basically the identifying of leaders that were deemed corrupt. The leaders were either sentenced to prison for their crimes or in some cases executed by the AFRC. 3 months later, on 24th September 1979, the AFRC allowed Hila Liman to head Ghana and the People's National Party, PNP. On 31st December 1981, after only 2 years as president, Liman's administration was cut short when Rawlings ousted him in yet another coup, claiming that his government was taking Ghana down a road of economic ruin.
C is a government that is or should be run by the people.
I ended up in office not because I wanted to be chairman, to be head of state, but it was just my passion to see justice done, my love of freedom. That's what puts me always in this position, or put me in this position.
A hands-on leader, Rawlings ensured the rebuilding of Ghana would be shared by all. Soldier and civilian took part, with no task too big or too small.
His passion is the underdog not being maltreated or mistreated, and looking at a situation where if we have, let's say, 6 million Ghanaians, he wants to bring all 6 million Ghanaians to a certain level.
Rawlings and his government had to instill measures that before would seem to be a compromise of their status quo, dealing with the West.
Pope John Paul described capitalism, the capitalist economic philosophy, as the savagery of capitalism. What are you going to say about us in the so-called developing world, in Africa?
All right, yes. So that was a documentary of the ex-president, the late Jerry John Rawlings. A very sad one at that. But today, the families of the ex-president, had a meeting with the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. They officially informed the presidency that this is what has happened. Also, as I read to you, we'll be playing a video of former President John Dramani Mahama cutting off his toe when he was addressing the people in the Ashanti region, precisely in Obuasi, and of course telling them that, well, at this stage, his toe of the region had to be cut just to make sure that we all mourn with the families of the Rawlingses. Well, I've been joined in the studio right here by my colleague, Oscar Kwame Akaba. He was in the Volta region today. In fact, he was there since yesterday. He was on a different assignment altogether. Then, unfortunately, this whole issue came up. But he was within the Anglo, state. So quickly he rushed to Keta, where the ex-president is coming from. Of course, we would want to find out from him how and what is the mood of the people of Volta region. Oscar, good evening.
Good evening, my son.
I can see you are in black already and you're sad.
Yeah, the mood actually, the news it's really hard for all of us to take, and especially when I was with the Anglo chiefs, where the Avadada led an emergency meeting to discuss a security issue with the chiefs. And in that process, when we were waiting for a statement to come out from that said meeting, with regards to some military men being seen around the Anglo Traditional Council, moving about without any prior information to the chiefs. And when the chiefs also tried to find out what was going on, it looks like the police hierarchy in the municipality or the divisional police were not even aware of the presence of these military people who were seen all around since 3 days ago. So it was in that meeting when this news broke out. But one interesting thing I will have to let our viewers know now is that for the Anglo state, the former president Rawlings is a chief.
Okay.
So the death of the chief can only be announced by the Awomafia, because the chief, the Toby Junenyo, which is former president Rawlings, is a chief, and whatever announcement is going on now, for them, nobody has come to them to officially tell them, and they have to go through the customary ways to now declare that yes, our son has passed or our chief has passed on. So we were actually trying to get to our Omefia and Co, and they said no, nobody has officially, traditionally, whatever is heard and in the news or whatever it is, this is more of a political way. But so far as their son, who is also a chief from the Volta region, that news has not come, and possibly few days to come before they will be able to get an official statement issued.
So it means that they are still in a waiting, and until it will be officially communicated to them by the immediate families here that the late president is no more, they wouldn't treat it as somebody who has passed on.
Yeah, you see, like how custom is supposed to follow. They are following the process.
Though they have heard it,
it's been heard.
To them,
yes.
Unless it has been communicated.
You know, when a mother is told that the son or the daughter is passed on, he still can't believe unless, of course, he sees true evidence of what is happening. And that is exactly the mood. People were really, though everything was on social media, because he was just with them about some few weeks ago to see the lovely mother off to the other world. So what really happened is like people in Jalukofe and Keta were seriously taken aback and said, whoa, well, such is life, but for now, maybe by tomorrow the thing will really dawn on them. But like I'm saying, because the former President Rawlings was also installed as a chief, no other individual or any person announces the death of a chief unless someone from the chiefdom that has been appointed or the Awomafia himself has to come out and declare that. And per my checks, when we got to Accra and when we got to studio, the Avadada and the Awomafia and the divisional chief and the left and right wings are all having a meeting, and I think there will be a delegation sent to them, and that process will go through before the Anglo state itself will come out and accept that yes, their son, who is also a chief, has actually passed on. In ever they will say, "Hey, Kofe," meaning he has gone to the village.
I understand the Kofe. Kofe is a village, Anyway.
So it's a sad news to all of us. I think some of us, the last time we met the former president was during a program at Aborigines Beach Resort during a bout. He's a good lover of boxing.
Yes, I'm told.
And
I'm told.
When I also followed and went with him, I went with Joseph Agbeko to him in his residence to invite him to come for the bout in Keta. Which, because he's a boxing fan, he and his whole entourage and his team came and enjoyed the boxing activity. I want to use this opportunity to also say a good evening to Uncle Mitch, group chairman for Aborigines Group of Company, who loves boxing and is a promoter and CEO of Aborigines Promotion. So within all this period, that is some of the things, aside him being the former president, being our former president, and has helped in the development of this country, especially making sure people do. Some of us can remember the issues of who born dog, the boom speech, the Mochriman, the Atam Mochriman issue. So these things are still fresh, and we are still not trying to accept the fact. But like I said, I am an Anglo from the village, so until the chiefs, my chiefs and my home affairs also come
have announced it, you are still in disbelief. I understand.
Yes, because it's really hurting. Exactly. Like I said, the last time I stood with him and took a picture, and for me to hear, and everybody is.
Well, that's true. But he was the pride of Volta. Take away the fact that he is a son of the land, the son of Ghana and Africa as a whole, but the pride of the Volta region. How would his demise affect, in fact, the Volta region, precisely the Anglo state?
You see, they call him Yevuvia because they said he's white. Aside from Yevuvia, him being called, he has been in touch, and he's the one who always rally his people around him, and he appoints people at key positions to work for the others. An example of Ambassador Victor Gbagbo, where we talk about His Excellency Abodakpi, the late Salome, Victor Salome. If you look at, I'm sure my grandfathers now who are watching, Captain Kojo Chikata, and all of them by now, because that has been that is his pals, and those are the people that he moves around with and reason with, and in these processes they try to help and put things in the Volta region. When sometimes I hear people say, what has the former President Rawlings done for the Volta region, I looked at them and said, what exactly do they want the Volta region to have? The road networks are there, not 100% completely, but if you look at the southern sector, the middle belt or the Volta region, almost, let's say 80% of road network that will lead to the market centers are completely done. Unfortunately, it is just after he left office as the president and some years back, it's just unfortunate that his own hometown, Keta Township itself, the road network is bad now.
Unfortunately.
And we just, like you said, we went for a tour and we just did a story on the road network, which the Keta Youth Association were calling on government because governments have been deceiving them. Right after the former president Rawlings left power, that Keta Township Road was not fixed again. So some of the things that they will have to remember, or it's something that people have to recall or remember President Rawlings for in the Volta region, is really about his charisma, his let's do activity spirit, where he has to go into the gutter and say, hey, come on, we have to fix this. Even when he's old enough and doing activities in Hugbechucho, he'll come. Even if he will not be at the Deba, he'll come and even come and greet the chiefs and go do his deed before he will leave. And it has been something that the people of the Volta region will miss, especially the Yevuvia, and those days when they say the Yevuvia, and NDC really is going to, he has lost big time.
Exactly.
Yes, big time. Yes.
Anyway, what final words would you have for the good people of Ghana, the continent as a whole, and especially people from his home region, the Volta region?
I think his issue of probity and accountability,
very well,
which he has been championing all this while, that corruption is what will destroy us. These are some of the things that when we look at, we will really remember this man that yes, he stood for justice, he stood for the masses. On my way coming, I heard Joy FM playing some of the sound that when people were alleging that he refused to hand over power when in 2000, when former President Kufuor won. He said, no, if we have refused to hand over power, we will have lost our masses.
It's true.
So it means that thing, he loved the masses. He knows that the power belongs to the masses.
The masses,
He knows that the power belongs to the common kenke seller and charcoal seller and the trotro driver and the taxi driver who is out there. And this is what this man stood for. Justice for all. And I remember those days when some of us were young, when the F cube and all those things was brought. The educational system, what he did, where he was before all these things. So I think the former President Rawlings will really be missed by Ghanaians and that of the whole of Africa and the whole world. On the international front, the kind of messages that have started trooping in,
a lot.
The president in Togo, you know, at a point we were at the Appiah border when you called in to have a discussion. One of the military guys, the Togo soldier guy, just crossed and came and said, "You are from the TV station Ghana. We hear your president is dead. The former president is dead. JJ is dead." I couldn't control. I just looked at him and said, "Wow, look at this." Even someone from a nearby a francophone military guy was totally amazed and said, "Oh wow, JJ is dead." So the Yevuvia, the JJ, and the Papa J, the names that came later on, the Boom man, the Atamochi man, Mr. Boom. Yes, these are the names you will remember. Who born dog? Who dare you? Who born dog? These are some of the things I think we remember. And like you said, I want my sincere condolence to the family which I'm part of. Like I said also, traditionally our leaders have not announced yet, because the Omefia is the only person who has that right and co.
Exactly.
The Anglo Youth Council too, I'm sure they'll be coming out very soon. The Keta Youth Association, all of them also be. Well, up till now, because they are all Mafia and Father that has not spoken yet, they are all coming. They are holding their
exactly
brief.
Until yes. I mean, it has been officially announced by the rightful channel.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, my brother. We shall continue this conversation, God willing, tomorrow. But you are doing a very good job. A very, very, very good job. Well, you've been in the Volta region since yesterday, and you have been touring, making sure that you bring to the fore things that are affecting the good people of Volta region.
For example, yesterday we were at Vume, his residence, and we're looking at pot making, which is just around his place. Flower pot and all this thing. It's a very big industry that we were looking at. And we went there and we realized, unfortunately, our 1D1F couldn't capture
those
this.
People,
so these are some of the things that we have baggage and we are coming out.
I think that tomorrow on midday we shall have that discussion also. Of course, I love that piece. I mean that you've conducted. But look, the families have officially informed the presidency. Now let's go and listen to or go and watch that meeting between the family of the ex-president and that of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We'll be right back.
Inform the presidency of the death of our mother, our grandmother, our sister, and the president, because of his special love for the ex-president, the former president, assisted us a lot in the burial of our mother. Just some few weeks or some few days after the burial, the former president, Jerry John Rawlings, fell sick and was hospitalized. A lot of efforts were made. I know the president was in touch with his brother. Little did we know that former president will leave us. So we've come here formally to inform the president and the entire government that this is what has happened. It is true. Jerry John Rawlings is no more. And we deem it appropriate to come and inform you officially. And with me.
And extend my deepest condolence and sympathies to the family. To now, we have to call her his widow. Children, brothers, cousins, entire family. I was given this information this morning when I arrived at the office. And I found it hard up to now to really incorporate, assimilate the information. There's a man of great vitality, dynamism and energy. It's very difficult to conceive of him as a dead body lying in a morgue. But then, one of the things that all of us I've got to get used to is that the Almighty has His own plans for each one of us. And improbable as some things may be, nevertheless they happen. It's a moment for reflection and for continuing to believe in His purpose, that He has a purpose for each one of us. And as it appears, former president's work here on earth has come to an end. He and I had a tempestuous relationship going over many, many years. But I believe that we came to see value in each other. That's how I put it, by the end. Extremely disturbed and saddened by his passage. He's not an ordinary Ghanaian. He was the first president of our Fourth Republic, man who held the supreme office in Ghana, and therefore his passage has to be a matter for the Ghanaian nation. I know the feeling of family on such an occasion, but I think that you would understand if I say that on the death of such a man, precedence has to be given to the state of Ghana. So the Chief of Staff, their office, will be in touch with Colonel Abutri and the family, and Akonedo Ajiman Rawlins, for us to agree on how we proceed. Time for funeral, all those things have to be agreed upon, but that the state has to pull out all the stops and make sure that he's given a most befitting and dignified exit.
That was the meeting between the family of the ex-president and President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Oscar is still here with me. We'll be wrapping up pretty shortly, but let's wrap up with the president, of course, the ex-president John Dramani Mahama's video. Let's go and listen to him. When we come back, I engage Oscar for us to wrap up.
It's impossible for us to continue this campaign tour of Ashanti. So I've spoken to our chairman of the National Campaign Committee, and the committee has agreed, and the National Campaign team will announce a date for resumption of the tour. Eti Senya Mikayano Yera Ogwasimu Yanti Asemde, Eti Bene chairman of National Campaign Committee Akasa na National Campaign Committee Apene say yes, suspended Ashanti campaign tour for a little while. Number on announced a da Yabe San Asha Sibium. Eti main Kasa.
Well, that was former President John Dramani Mahama right there. He was speaking in the Ashanti region to the people of Obuasi, where he cut short his tour of the region just to come back here, being with us here in Accra to make sure that we all mourn the ex-president Jerry John Rawlins. Now, Oscar, we are wrapping up. I would have loved to read some few messages, but I think our time is almost up. Do you think And I've asked Ruben this question. I've asked Kwame this question today when we're doing the live coverage of the demise of the ex-president. Do you think that the tenets of, probity, accountability, good governance, and social justice trumpeted by the late president would be held in high esteem by his party now that he's no more?
If you say his party, I think he was not only directing all of those to his party, it's to Ghanaians, to everybody in general, because he's the man who looks at social justice and wants equalization. He wants things to be done the right way. So to me, one way, yes, the party, because at a point he felt disconnect with the party, that it looks like the party is not looking at what is being done. Someone will say, like how the late former president Appiah Mills always say that some even said he wants to be conserved and all, but former President Rawlings is not the type. He wants probity and accountability. But the fact of the matter is, we are a human society. Former President Rawlings has done his best. He has championed, he has voiced out the issue of probity and accountability, that it should be our benchmark. But the rest is left with us. For example, there is this song in our local Appiah language which says, I have finished mine. It's left with yours. Yeah. It means nyame wovo. It means that he has played his part by telling you that this and this will not help our society. If today the former president is gone, it's left with us who are still alive to know that if probity, accountability is not there, openness is not there, corruption is reduced to the minimal, everybody would have peace of mind. Okay. Every child will have the right to go to school. Every mother will be comfortable security-wise. Every person will be free to do his work freely in the society. So when there is these issues of probity, accountability, which he has championed over the period, for me, that message is not only for his party that he founded.
The NDC.
Yes, it is for Ghanaians in total. Okay. NPP, NDC. Lately, you could realize that the former president has been so close to current president.
Exactly. President
President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Exactly.
It was until I got to Angoga that I got certain secrets. I mean, as at 5 o'clock before we set off to Accra, that I got certain secret that the former President Rawlings, the late former President Rawlings, and Nana Akufo-Addo has a linkage at Akomufie. They are of the same grandmothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a secret.
There's a secret there.
All right.
So that kind of
at times let's make it snappy. I've just been prompted from the MCR that we have to get going. So just wrap up well for me. Yeah.
I want to say that we have lost a very big countryman, a very honest and hard-working man. This should be a lesson to we the youth. Okay. That hard work really pays. After hard work, you need to rest. Possibly, if our former president is gone now, maybe he's going to rest.
Exactly.
So there is no place than to rest and go into the bosom of our Lord. So I want to send my sincere condolence to the family, which I am also part of, and we are also still waiting for the overlord of Anglo land to officially come because he is a chief. So more or less, what you are going to see, possibly the funeral is going to be one of a kind that.
Very well.
Yes,
it's possible. All right, because
very possible.
The state, the president has also indicated that they're ready to give him a state burial because he's a statesman. Well, this is our time will allow on the program for today. Once again, we here at Pan African Television, we are sending our condolences to the family of the ex-president Jerry John Rawlings. We have been hit by a tsunami, and this has really gotten to every single African, every single Ghanaian, every single person who has in one way or the other benefited from the ex-president. Make a time with us same time next week. My name is Justice Appiah, and the show has been Hot News. I've been doing this with my colleague, Oscar Kwame Akava. Goodbye.